الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما يا عليم. Imagine, dear brothers and sisters, if I mentioned to you, Ya Abdullah, join a race tomorrow. Join a race. It's 10 miles, but when you complete it, you get £1 million. Now, £1 million looks like a good deal, but 10 miles is quite rough. And it's not next month, it's tomorrow. You think about yourself, I'm not fit to run 10 miles, but at 1 million, I have to try it. So maybe you try. Maybe the first half mile, you're going at a good pace. But after a couple of miles, most likely you'll be lying on the ground. But unfortunately, that is the reality of many regarding Ramadan. Most likely what happens is that you get messages suddenly, Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem, tonight is Ramadan, and then you realize, oh, it's Ramadan. There are so many blessings in Ramadan. I need to do my best. So you have aspirations of things that you want to do, worship you want to achieve during Ramadan. And maybe the first couple of nights, you're doing well. You're hitting the targets like you wanted. But again, after a couple of days, you'll be lying on the bed. Either you're burned out, you're tired, or maybe you push yourself too much and you get sick. Now, this happens here, and then the next year like that, and over and over and over again. Now, if you want to change that reality, you also need to change your approach. Now, how can we make it that this Ramadan is going to be different? Now, that kind of a mentality to change this Ramadan does not happen the day before Ramadan or a week before Ramadan. It has to happen right now. Because we of human beings, we can't make sudden drastic changes and expect everything to go well. What you have to do is actually to have a clear picture of what kind of ibadah, what kind of worship you want to have during Ramadan. Have it clearly. Right now, put the list on it, right? And then what you have to do is then compare your current situation with the one that you want to achieve. A very simple example is that, let's say you want to recite a juz every day in Ramadan, 20 pages, right? But then you look at yourself and you realize that right now I'm reading maybe three pages a day. So instead of jumping from 3 pages to 20, which is a 17 pages jump, try from now. So if like around a month, right? 4 weeks, jump a little bit. So increase from 3 pages to 8 pages, 5 pages. And then go for that for a week. Try to hold on to that. And then increase again, another 5 pages. So 13. Can be, try to keep it like that. Then increase. So 1 week before Ramadan, you're at 17 pages a day. So when Ramadan comes, your jump is from 17 till 20 to 20. So just a jump of 3 pages, not from 3 to 20, right? And that's just an example regarding Quran. But you can use this, you can say, program, this approach for your prayers, right? And as Brother Sabir mentioned, Qiyam al-Layl or Taraweeh is quite heavy, 20 in some places, 8 for whole Quran. It is quite tough, right? If you jump suddenly from 0 to a whole Quran standing, for a couple of days you're going to, hurt your feet. And then maybe there are some days you're off, and then you come back again. So try from now on to build the habit a little bit, right? Maybe every night, every 2 nights, pray a little bit. So when Ramadan comes and people are, rushing for Taraweeh, you're used to it, and you can really enjoy Taraweeh as it is. Enjoy the meanings, enjoy the recitation, and don't, focus on the pain on your feet. Now, the month of Ramadan, as well mentioned, or understood as the month of Quran, obviously one of the things that we should focus on and prioritize is the Quran that we have. However, don't just have a target of recitation that you have and that you worry about every single day. I need to finish so many pages. And your worry would be to finish those pages, to rush through those pages, to hit your target, right? My advice is try to balance the quantity that you have with the quality that you're reciting as well. And how do you increase the quality of recitation? It is by trying to recite it with tajweed, a little bit slower. Think about their meanings, ponder upon their meanings. Now then a question comes, I don't know Arabic. How can I think about the meanings? How can I ponder if I don't know Arabic? Now, one solution would be that you split your time. A bit of it is reciting Arabic, and then try to recite a bit or read a bit as a translation as well. So you're able to connect a little bit about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. However, if you really want to engage with the Quran during Ramadan, the best time to do it is actually in your prayer. Now, there is something that some scholars mentioned, which is really builds a connection with you and the Quran. So during this Ramadan, 30 days, right? Try to focus on just one surah. Maybe a surah that you already memorized or surah that you want to memorize. And make it realistic. Maybe 2 pages, maybe a bit more, depending on your level, right? So let's say Surah Al-Mulk. So okay, this Ramadan is going to be Ramadan of Surah Al-Mulk. So during those 30 days, I'm trying to memorize Surah Al-Mulk. I'm trying to recite Surah Al-Mulk every single night. And I'm going to try to learn everything that I can find of Surah Al-Mulk. All the lectures, all the reminders, everything I can read, everything I can watch, everything I can listen about Surah Al-Mulk. And like that, when I stand up and recite Surah Al-Mulk, I'm trying to connect the teachings, the lectures, the meanings of Surah Al-Mulk with what I'm reciting. And try to match bit by bit, ayah bin ayah. You think, okay, what does this ayah mean? I remember what this meant so and so and so. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes from one theme to another theme. And like that, you built a different connection with that surah. Right? And hopefully there, you really feel that connection, you're trying to pierce your heart with the nur of the Quran, like the first Qari mentioned, nurun ala nur, the nur of Quran, with the nur of your heart, you try to match it through that surah. And you'll feel that surah is like you receive it fresh from the mouth of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Or even better, fresh from Jibreel alayhi salam. Even better, it's like you're hearing it directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because you're trying to build this connection between that surah and yourself. It's like Allah subhanahu speaking to you directly to that surah. So choose a surah and make Ramadan special through that surah. And you try to build your connection with that surah in the month of Ramadan. Now that's one thing that you should do, right? But when you're thinking about how to prepare for Ramadan, there's also another list that we need to make. Not your to-do list, but your not to-do list. Because when we are reflecting and thinking, okay, what should we do more? There's also a lot of things that we should do less of. Like imagine your heart being like a cup, and it's filled with a couple of pebbles, rocks. And you're trying to put in it water, and you try to increase it with water. But if the rocks are there, the water is just going to pour out. You need to remove the rocks first for you to be able to add more water in. So when you're doing your worship, you're trying to purify yourself, right? There are some things some habits, some things that we can just let go of. That is a barrier between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now the example would be like a shirt, right? You want to wear it, but it's dirty. And you try to make it suitable for wearing, so you put perfume on it. More perfume, but still dirty, but you still put more perfume on it. No matter how much perfume you put on that shirt, it's not going to become suitable to wear unless you clean it. Our heart as well. Some things we need to clean before we actually add stuff, right? And that's the thing that is a barrier between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or Imam recited at second rak'ah, right? That paradise is the reward for those who purify themselves. Liman yatazakka, right? Tazakka. And that is purification. It's not just adding more worship, also removing more worship. Removing the barriers, the sins, the thing that's even gray. It's not necessarily hasn't have to be sins. Things that are taking you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, distracting you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Ramadan, 30 days. Try to reduce, or even if you can minimize or eliminate from your life any kind of distractions. Maybe music, maybe games. It might be series, TV. You might think it's difficult, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made Ramadan in a way that the whole world changed, right? We all know the hadith where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that the gates of Jahannam is locked, the gates of Jannah are open, the devils are chained. So it's only you and yourself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you to change. And that's an opportunity for you to change. And hopefully then, because again, you're a human being and you've got a habit of this kind of standard, hopefully you're able to attain and keep that standard even after Ramadan. Something is very, very important before Ramadan itself is for us to repent, for us to submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because again, think something that the first Imam mentioned. Don't you love? لا تحبون أن يغفر الله لكم. Don't you love it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives you? Don't you love it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives you? Of course, the answer is yes. But sometimes our action indicates no. I prefer singing songs more. I prefer doing this one more. But if you actually remove that, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's forgiveness is going to shower upon you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually tests us with two things. One thing, one kind of worship that is difficult for us to do, something that is a little bit hard for us. And everyone has a different kind of test in that. And also another type of, you can say, desire, something from this world that our hearts are attached to. So when we actually try to improve ourselves in the heart that we think that is heart worship, and when we try to remove ourselves from the attachment of this world, that is when the openness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the futuhat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes in. And again, Ramadan is a chance for us to change, right? Or you can say dietary, the way we eat change, or days change, or night change. The whole world is changing. The environment is all rushing towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's a chance for us to propel ourselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, there is an ingredient when you are trying to prepare for Ramadan, which is essential. And without this ingredient, our preparation and even our Ramadan is weak. Before I go to that ingredient, I want to remind ourselves with the hadith, which is being shared a lot in the last couple of years. The hadith where Talha ibn Ubaidillah, one of the ones who are promised Jannah, he saw in a dream that he was standing in front of Jannah. And with him are two brothers. And both of them became Muslim at the same time. But one of them was known to be very active. And he actually died in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now the second one died a year later, a natural death. So when Talha was standing in front of the door of Jannah, a caller came out and called the second one first. And then the caller came out and then called the first one, right? And then he said to Talha, it's not your turn yet, go back. So when Talha woke up, he was very surprised. And he started sharing this dream with the companions until he sees the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet said, why are you surprised? They said, Ya Rasulullah, the first brother, he was more active and he died as a shaheed. But the Prophet said that the second brother, didn't he live another extra year? Didn't he live Ramadan? Didn't he fast and make so many sajdas, so and so and so? He said, yes, Ya Rasulullah. Then the Prophet said, then what's between the two are the difference between the sky and the heaven. Sorry, the earth and the sky. Now, does that mean that if I live Ramadan and I'm fasting and I'm praying, I'm better right now in a better situation that if I died last year as a shaheed? That's not necessarily the case. What the scholars mentioned actually is that, yes, the first brother had this activism and died as a shaheed, but the second brother had something in his heart between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he longed for, right? And that he had this kind of truthfulness between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with the reward of shaheed and even more. And that is the ingredient, sidq, truthfulness between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And with that kind of truthfulness, you can even get beyond the level of a shaheed, the one who died in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you are living in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, this truthfulness doesn't come easy, of course, and it's between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, we just finished a couple of rak'ats of prayer, and hopefully we just finished hearing from reminder as well about what we should aspire and hope to be our targets in Ramadan. So practically, I want to give a couple of moments, maybe a minute, for you to speak between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make a promise to Him, what you're going to do in Ramadan, what you're going to leave, what you're going to change, what you hope to achieve during Ramadan. Just between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala right now. Give me a moment to start. May Allah accept us all. Now, the reason why I would like to do this is because the reality is that there is no guarantee that any of us is going to reach Ramadan. Sometimes we think or go into these kind of sessions, or we think about prepping for Ramadan. It's like Ramadan is guaranteed for us. There's no guarantee that we're going to reach Ramadan. There's no guarantee that we're going to go back to our homes. There's no guarantee that we're able to exit this masjid. So I want to take this moment again, so we have that kind of pact between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we come from the ayah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned. From the believers are men who are truthful to the covenant, to the promise they took with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And from among them are those who completed their promise. From among them are those who are waiting. Hopefully all of us are now from those who are waiting. And they have not changed their commitment in any way, shape or form. So now we have a commitment between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all we want to do is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For us to do as much as possible. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala look at us with the eyes of rahmah. That you boast us to His angels. And hopefully from that Ramadan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would say to His angels, look at Abdullah, look at Abdul Rahman. I have forgiven them. I have forbidden them from the hellfire. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all from those who are truthful, from the sadiqeen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept Ramadan from us, make us reach Ramadan, accept Ramadan from us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this Ramadan that change our course towards Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. قولي قولي هذا وأستغفر لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.